How can you improve response rates and sales cadences? We're examining how your CRM works with sales engagement software in this episode of Closing Time. Thanks for tuning into Closing Time, the show for go-to-market leaders. I'm Chip House, CMO at Insightly CRM, and I'm joined by Albert Rhee, Director of Product Marketing at Salesloft. Welcome to the show, Albert.
Thank you, Chip. Happy to be here.
It's super great to have you. And, you and I connected before this, and we were talking about just the idea of CRM and sales engagement. And so from a CRM standpoint, right, we clearly like to think about CRM as the place you put all your customer data, where every action and interaction is stored depending on where the customer or prospect is engaging throughout your customer journey, where sales engagement software then comes in to facilitate kind of the engagement portion of the interaction to assist sales reps in prospecting. But I would love to hear what your definition of sales engagement is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to think of technology in two parts, the what and the how. So for sales engagement platforms specifically, ultimately, we're trying to help sellers and sales teams drive more revenue. So that's the what. And you mentioned like CRM is like a system, or CRM is a system of data. Well, one way to think about sales engagement is as a system of execution. So think about it as a platform where sellers take action to engage with customers and prospects so they can build pipeline and close more deals. Because whether you're prospecting or you're further down the revenue funnel and working to get a deal to close, there are dozens, if not hundreds, of customer touch points happening across multiple channels. We like to say that we help sellers efficiently utilize all those channels, run their sales plays to perfection, and stay connected to the entire buying committee. Because as we all know, selling can get complicated really, really quickly. So having your sales playbooks ready at your fingertips, being able to jump right into an email or a call or a meeting, all of that makes it easier for sellers to sell and then build momentum, keeping reps motivated, progressing deals, all of that helping them stay focused on their buyers' needs.
Makes a ton of sense. And so, tell me more about how CRM plus sales engagement can work together. So when somebody is implementing, clearly there's, I'm very familiar with the industry that we're in. And, we work with a lot of different B2B companies, some B2C companies, and all of their journeys are different, right? And the level of data that they have about their customers or prospects differs, and how they can use that differs in the sales process, clearly. But I mean, what's the perfect combination of CRM plus sales engagement, that you've seen work best at Salesloft?
Yeah, so when I think about the two platforms together, so CRM, sales engagement, I think this is one of those cases where it's a really nice symbiotic relationship because you have like CRM, and we think sales engagement makes CRM better. And on the flip side, we think CRM makes sales engagement better. And the reason why that is because there's the wonderful thing about sales engagement platforms is it's the place where all of the digital interactions between a seller and a prospect are taking place. And what's fantastic about that is all of those interactions, whether it's phone, email, social, virtual meetings, all of them are being automatically logged back, not just into your sales engagement platform, but into your CRM as well. Now, as a sales leader, you want to know how a deal is really going. What better ways are to actually go back to the conversations that the customers are actually having with your sellers? So you can look through email replies, recorded calls, virtual meetings. You can look at data like how many meetings are on the books, how many stakeholders being engaged with. All of that data is being captured by sales engagement platforms and then being synced back into your CRM.
It has to be a balance, right? Because you need the right amount of data to personalize your messages, but you need to do that at some level of scale if you're a salesperson to manage a number of different cadences based on whatever's being assigned to you. And maybe this might be different if you have a $100,000, $200,000 product and you sell two of them a year, right? You don't have to reach out to maybe as many people, but most of us are functioning where we're selling a smaller volume, or a smaller dollar value product, and so you're reaching out to hundreds, thousands of people, or maybe over a month time frame. Um, and you want the personalization to be helpful. You want it to be authentic. And so, do you have thoughts about how to balance, that the volume necessary with the personalization needed?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you said. Like it has to be authentic. It has to be kind of like coming from you, like personalized, but also personalized to the person you're talking to. Because at the end of the day, we're still, any sort of even like B2B sales, it's still between a human and a human. And you want to make sure that that kind of comes through. But to your point, like it has to also scale, right? I shouldn't be having to write like these, long emails that are fully personalized to every single prospect I'm talking to. You have to balance it out with some level of kind of like messaging that you've already taught, I've already have kind of pre-built out for that specific persona, that industry. Now, the way to balance that is one way to think about it is like how much personalization should I be doing on like an average basis to make sure that I'm still standing out from the crowd? I'm not sending out spammed email. I'm still sending out something very specific to the person that I'm trying to reach. Now, our data science team at Salesloft, they've analyzed millions of emails and have seen that there's a 300% increase in reply rates. 300%, just going from zero personalization to 25% personalization in your day one email, which is your first
Wow.
email interaction with a new prospect.
So just for adding that's any sort of personalization, just for adding any sort of personalization to my first email, it's a 3x improvement.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it's a huge number. And again, this kind of helps you kind of be more efficient and scale it, right? You're not writing a 100% personalized email to every single prospect. You can start with an email template that maybe is already tailored towards their industry or their particular title or their function they're in, but then adding in a little bit specific to that person, that maybe you've done some research on their LinkedIn or you've done some more research into like the industry, like current economic factors that are impacting their specific industry. And you're able to build in something a little bit special from that 1 to 2 sentences to help really catch their eye. And I think that's a really good point to point out too, is usually that personalization, in my opinion, I think you should put that in like the first 1 to 2 sentences. Cause I don't know about you, but like whenever I get an email on the first place I look at it is on my phone. It's the first place it's going to pop
Yeah.
up. I see the little
Hmm.
notification. I see who sent it. I see the subject of the email, and I see maybe 8 to 10 words ish. That's literally how much time you have to catch a person's attention. So if you put that little bit of effort into the first 1 to 2 sentences that you have in an email, I think you're going to really see an improvement in your reply rate. And the fantastic thing about it is our data science team even took it a one level deeper into their research, and they saw that the positive replies nearly doubled the negative replies. So it's not just like you increased reply rates by 3x, you're increasing the positive replies well over the negative replies as well.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense, Albert, and I can feel it as a CMO. I'm a lot of people reach out trying to sell me things, right? And I know what makes an email stand out in my inbox, and it's typically some level of personalization, some level of homework that went into it that feels authentic, feels human to human, and even sometimes I'll just respond, if it's done really well, even if I'm not interested, I just make the connection. Hey, thanks for commenting on my blog or the company news or whatever they might be citing in the personalization. So
Yeah,
super
absolutely.
helpful.
And the second best answer for a seller is no, because you at least know like I don't have to keep putting my
I'll go
effort
to the
there.
next
Like
one.
I can put my effort somewhere else. Absolutely. So
Eh,
it's still good to do a response.
Exactly. So you and I talked a little while ago about inbound versus outbound, right? And you can use Salesloft for both. I think a lot of people think of maybe sales engagement as an outbound only thing, but that's not true, right? I mean, you use it for inbound or outbound leads that come in. But there's some market differences. How do you think about them differently?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no question that there are stark differences between like an inbound approach and an outbound approach. But actually, I would love to start kind of talking about some of the similarities, because I do think there are a ton of them that kind of get passed over sometimes. So when you think about outbound specifically, I don't know, my mind immediately goes to like persistence, numerous follow ups, using every channel possible to just like make a connection. But I've actually seen, and our data science team has seen that like the same mindset pays off handsomely for inbound as well. So inbound, it really just isn't that easy. Like people think of it as like, oh, just replying to a demo request form fill and booking meetings and moving on. But like ask any inbounder. They'll let you know like life just isn't that easy. Like you got to practice the same discipline, the same persistence, the same personalized approach to maximize your conversion rates. So like great inbounders, they don't let a ghosted contact like just slip through the cracks. Great inbounders, what they do is they actually persist. They go after it. They add personalization. And to back up this claim, like our data science team was found that like inbounders also will see a 2.75x increase in reply rates going from no personalization to just 15 personalization in their emails. So if like your email response,
15%? Is that what you mean?
15%
15?
personalization. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So even less than necessarily for like an outbounder, but still really similar results, like almost like the same 3x. And another interesting tidbit here is like they also found that like for inbounders, brevity is your friend. So our data science team, when they looked at the email reply rates, they saw a 2x increase in replies when you use 50 words or less versus using over 100 words. So you get
No
double the
kidding.
replies by using less words. Because I mean, technically, you've already got their attention, right? They've actually taken the
Mhm.
effort to reach out to you to see if they could learn more. And now, like, speed is always king in terms of inbound, but this is kind of like adding to that. How brief can you be? But also, like, can you add in just a little flavor of personalization to make sure they reach back out? Because it's not a slam dunk when someone fills out a demo form fill. It's there's still aspects of the outbound approach that kind of bleed into inbound as well.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up speed because definitely I think of speed in inbound, and I love the stat that if a sales rep responds to an inbound lead within 5 minutes, the rate goes up by 21 times. So a lot of different companies are now moving towards at least SLAs between the marketing and the sales team, where the sales rep has to respond within X amount of minutes. Often it's 30 minutes or an hour, but
Right.
within 5 minutes, 21x. Is that your data, Albert?
No, it's actually I think it was from Lead Simple, but it was also like what's interesting is like the 21x is also tied to like picking up the phone and calling them back. So not just shooting them back an email, but also like using the phone, connecting them when you are top of mind. Your company is top of mind within that first 5 minutes. 21x increase is huge. So definitely something to
Yeah,
key in on.
that's super interesting. So I guess you could call email and phone a multi-channel approach, right? And primarily you're enabling cadences, which are calls and emails, right? But talk to me about the benefits of that multi-channel approach and what kind of increase you see there.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to the personalization, the last sales kickoff that I went to, we had two sales leaders on like a leader panel answering questions. And one of the questions that we asked them was like, well, what's your preferred channel to get like if you were got a prospecting or someone like prospecting you? And one sales leader was like, oh, I love getting like really good emails. Like if someone has actually done the research, knows a little bit about me, my role, the problems that I'm struggling with, and they have a solution that can uniquely help with these, I'll give them the time of day. And the other sales leader says, oh, it's so funny. Like I automatically delete every single email. Like I only like if you cold call me, like I'll take a cold call and I'll hear your pitch and I'll give you the time of day there. And what I found was so interesting was there's like two sales leaders in very similar industries, two very different preferences for how they want to be contacted. And for me, the takeaway is like you have to meet people where they want to be met, right? You're the one reaching out. You're the one asking for their time. And you may not know what channel that is. So you have to try multiple different channels to potentially even just get on their radar. There's also some fantastic research we've done on like what we call like a multi-touch approach, which is basically using a phone and a call or a social all in the same day. So let's say I call someone and I know they're not going to pick up. So I have a voicemail ready to be like, hey, Chip, just want to let you know I'm going to send you something in your inbox on XYZ topic that's really important to your industry. And then right after that call, hang up. You send him that like asset or that sales or the marketing content, and you have that follow up. and you have this nice kind of like chain reaction of like someone checks their like their voicemail, they check their email, and you just like you've gotten on their radar in one way or another. I think this is like just shows like the power of like putting together that personalized approach and pleasantly persistent approach to prospecting that just helps you become a pattern breaker. Like you stand out from the crowd, and
For
ultimately the
sure.
idea is like creating better buying experiences for your customers.
I think you said it there, pattern breaking. It feels different if you stand out. It truly makes a difference as somebody who's receiving those for sure. And if you're truly leveraging social selling plus phone calls plus emails, you're likely to stand out even more and be more personalized, right? So you talked about CRM as being the system of the data, and something like Salesloft being the system for engagement. And I think it's a brilliant way to think about it. Albert, so let's shift gears a bit. Do you have any stats regarding video? I know that they really stand out in my inbox when I get a cadence that includes video. Tell me about what kind of stats you have.
Yeah, absolutely. So our data science team at Salesloft, they looked at millions of different email correspondences that included some sort of like video as part of the content in the email body. And what they found was there's actually a 26% increase in reply rates when you add video. And you can almost think of this as like another channel. So you have your email, you have your phone, you have your social, you have your direct mail. Now you can add video to kind of like even further amplify your email channel. Because I think, like as we talked about like before about pattern breakers, this is just another one that can help you stand out from the crowd. It's even better if your video thumbnail game is up to par. You could show yourself holding up a whiteboard, written down something that's like specific to that person, either their name or their company, just so they know that you've created a video that's tailored for them and not just maybe like a marketing video that is more like generic and general and public domain. So again, like trying to break apart from the crowd, stand out. I think video is an excellent way to do that in email.
Excellent point. So, Albert, thanks so much for joining us on Closing Time.
Chip, it's been such a great opportunity to join you. Thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah, super excited to have you on this show, and maybe we'll have you back in the future. To all of you, thanks so much for joining us on Closing Time today. Remember to click subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss any episodes. We'll see you next time.